GW Smith in our studio with us. Good morning, GW.
Good morning, Bulldog. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I can't complain.
Wait.
Am I on the wrong mic?
Was it? No. Wasn't Tammy here? I was going to say good morning to Tammy, but she left.
She gone.
Is she down there? Okay.
Yeah.
She's not down there anymore, is she?
No.
Is she
No.
not behind any chairs or anything?
She's not
Okay.
hiding.
All right. Anyway, it's just us, boys. All right, so GW here from AGH and here to talk to us today in particular about cholesterol.
That's right.
All right. So can
I heard Lee set me up for failure.
he did he?
Yeah. He told me that his numbers were 300 and they were perfect, which is not true.
300 is not perfect?
No.
Oh.
As
It
a
is.
total number or all by itself, it's not good. Unless you're in baseball. I mean, 300 works
What
all
do the
day.
numbers mean? What is cholesterol? You know, we hear about it. We don't know what it is.
So the simple breakdown, there's always more numbers than just the three, but everyone always looks at the total number, right? Everybody's like, oh, my total number is really, really high. Total number is not really what we look at as clinicians. So we break it down into three main categories, which are going to be your triglycerides, your HDL, and your LDL.
Okay.
The good news is the HDL. HDL is like when you see everybody that's all granola and crunchy going, hey, eat avocado and, good fats and nuts and walnuts and all that kind of stuff. And HDL promotes good joint health, good brain health, this real fun stuff called myelin that's in your body, which is basically a big congealed fat that goes over top of your nerve endings. Okay. So if you've ever seen like a big electrical circuit when they put that gel on there for the conducting oil.
Oh, yeah.
Same type of thing in your body. It uses it for conduction. It's pretty
okay.
cool. So having those kind of fats are good. The other deposits of fats in your body would be like LDL. Okay, so LDL is a high density fat that gets packaged by your liver and then dispersed by your stomach to come out in the obvious way things come out when they're done being used by your body.
Okay.
So if it doesn't come out that way and it's circulating around your bloodstream, it creates plaques. So like on your teeth, when you have too much buildup and stuff like that, you go to the dentist, they scrape all that stuff out. It actually builds up inside your arteries. So as it builds up in your arteries, it'll be against the walls of the vessels. This is actually harder than I thought to do and explain without being able to draw a picture. Because even in appointments, I draw a picture for my patients.
I think we're all doing good. So it's building up on the side, so it's
Right.
making it smaller for the stuff to
Right.
run.
So as the diameter of your vessel gets smaller, just like in a hose, the pressure goes up. So
Okay.
it can contribute to blood pressure, can contribute to blood vessels just not getting nutrients through the blood, oxygen, everything else where it needs to go. But the biggest risk factor with it is when you get to your heart and your brain. So as you get to your heart, your brain, your kidneys, places where your large blood vessels get smaller to supply blood to smaller areas, they become more tortuous is what we would call it, right? So let's use the heart as an example. Say you've got a big blockage of fat somewhere. It breaks loose, goes to your heart, and those vessels all over your heart that are helping your heart move are smaller and smaller and smaller. So in a big vessel, it's kind of like, meh, it's a speed bump.
Okay.
All right? You get into a small vessel, it's not a speed bump, it's a blockage. So when you get those blockages is when you have a heart attack. When you get those blockages up top is when you get a stroke.
Okay.
And you worry about your carotid arteries, which are up in your neck. And then there's this big area called the circle of Willis in your brain where everything kind of shoots out and gets smaller. And that's where you really have your dangerous aspects. So where we go as clinicians without, just jumping right to pharmaceuticals is hopefully catching people earlier and being like, hey, listen, check your cholesterol panel. These are the things that make it better or worse. These are the things that predispose you to it. Now, the real kick below the belt is if mom, dad, sister, brother, everybody's already predisposed to it, and you're like, man, I'm going to be a vegan. I'm going to do everything I possibly can, and I'm not going to have high cholesterol. Your chances are good, not great. Genetics predispose you to so much when it comes down to cholesterol and the way your body metabolizes it. Sometimes it's luck of the draw.
So you talked about the numbers and so the
Yeah.
300. So you could kind of base something on those, right? I mean, those numbers do mean something.
Absolutely, and there's ratios. So back in the day, they would look at your overall cholesterol number and be like, "Oh no, that's bad, no matter what." But now that we break it down, let's say your HDL is like 100, right? Like you eat all the avocados, you eat all the nuts, and then I look at your LDL, which is your bad
Why
one.
is 100 a good? Is that good?
Right. So if your HDL is up and your LDL is also up, then we can kind of, as clinicians, look at it and go, okay, maybe we don't treat you with medicine. Maybe we understand that there's a little bit of spillover. There's a ratio of health established with having good and bad fats. But if your HDL is low, say below 40, and your LDL is 300, or whatever, then we're kind of like, okay, so yeah, this is bad. You can either change your diet and we can follow up and increase your exercise, or we can put you on medications which help your body better process and package those fats to get them through your digestive tract.
That's statin, right?
There's a couple.
Okay.
So
you hear this word, statin.
Yeah. So you definitely have statins. Statins were kind of a big game changer when it came down to treating cholesterol when they came out. And there's 1,800 different ones that are formulated very similarly. They do have some side effects.
What are they doing? Like, what does a statin do?
They actually help package the fats in a way that you get rid of them the natural way through your bowel movements.
Right.
So it gets things out in a more efficient way and decreases the actual solidification of it in your arteries so that you don't have as many plaques. There's another medication called Zetia or easybitamide. It's actually older than statin, but it still works not as effectively as statins. And then there's been a lot of game changers recently. Like, okay, so, we hear about not eating red meat, not eating trans fats, not eating that. So, it falls into that category of, our hypertension, our diabetes, our cholesterol, our real big ticket items. A lot of it's lifestyle. I mean, a lot of it is, okay, only eat red meat once a week. Don't eat fried food. Stay away from your dairy. Exercise and, be conscientious. Eat the good fats and stay away from the bad ones. So, I mean, it's lifestyle, but it's also, if you're a guy who loves steak, I hate to say it, there is an option to take some medicine and continue on what you're doing until you're ready to make changes.
What does Lipitor do? Does that allow me to eat steak every night?
No.
What is Lipitor? Is that another? Is that a statin?
Lipitor is absolutely a statin.
Okay.
It will help.
I've been on it since I was 8, so.
And it's
Must be working.
It's not helping out.
They even have things like Repatha now, where you get an injection, and it lasts for I think Repatha is a month. If I'm not, I might be quoting that one wrong. But
Just give me all the statins.
Yeah,
but a statin's a pill. Right?
Statin's a pill, yeah. Statin a pill and Zetia is a pill. You take them at night, and they do their job. But honestly, the easiest way, 100% of the time, and what I tell my patients, it's lifestyle changes, right? I mean, it's watch what you're putting in your body, and you get in what you put out, kind of thing. So there's a couple, little I would say cheats to it. So Metamucil daily.
Okay.
Like old man juice.
Okay.
Again, since I was 8.
Since you were 8.
That's fiber, right?
Basically, Benefiber, Metamucil, a very high fiber diet. It definitely helps move cholesterol through the digestive tract without it settling in the arteries.
Okay.
There's, some supplements that have been really sworn upon, like red rice yeast and CoQ10. They really help lower it as well. But unfortunately, the genetics, like I was telling you, it really can screw the pooch in many situations.
All
Coach, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask you, I was watching some health nut on social media talking about that a lot of our problems with, general, public health can be traced back to, the production of shelf foods and removing all the fibers and stuff. And, people a lot of times just need more fiber, apparently.
Am I more surprised that you listen to something educational? Or
Yeah.
Are we actually going to talk about this?
Oh, no, yeah. This was, I was like, wow. So...
So double-edged sword, though. Okay, but back then, you're probably right. The foods were probably a lot better.
Yeah.
However, the life expectancy back then was what, 60? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, but you also bought your milk and got a free carton of Marlboros.
You did. That's true.
and they lived a long time.
Not really. That is.
You got these 110-year-olds that smoke and drink whiskey every day.
That's true. That's true. But
So you're recommending that?
I am, absolutely.
Okay.
No.
Too late.
So somebody had asked a question. Can you ask him about lipoprotein A?
Lipoprotein A.
Somebody just got a blood test.
That's a much higher level conversation.
Oh, okay. I don't know. All right. Hey, listen, Rick, call somebody else.
Or the rival doctors.
Now.
Trying to trip them up.
Call 911, Rick.
Oh, you don't know about Lipo A?
It's Amy sued because I didn't invite her this morning.
Okay. Okay. All right. Won't go there. We're going back to cholesterol.
That's a form of it.
Okay.
But it's to get into that, I think may bore the majority of the viewers. I'm sorry.
Is there any kind of diet change that would break down the plaques that are in your arteries? If you
Yeah,
have
they don't. I mean, it doesn't necessarily reverse what you've got, but decreasing the amount of what's going on will certainly help kind of get what you've got moving along. So
once you have it, you have it.
yeah, once you have it, you have it. There are some theories that the Lipitors, the statins, the cholesterol meds, increasing, a more productive diet will help. But one of the biggest things is cardiovascular fitness. For a long time, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like you just said. So if you've had a stroke, if you've had a heart attack, if you're known to have coronary artery disease, which has contributed to cholesterol, the reason that you always see those disclaimers where it's like, yes, please work out, but talk to your cardiologist first. It's because you increase that pressure, you start busting up some of the clots and freeing things up. Yay, great, I feel better. But then what if one of those, not clots, I should say, but those plaques releases and goes to your heart? And then your cardiologist is like, no, I didn't tell you to work out because then you had a heart attack. So
okay.
You want to make sure you're doing it safely and making sure that you are working out within a type of exercise that's beneficial.
Got it. Well, that's informative.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So one of the biggest things around here that contributes to cholesterol will probably make me very unpopular.
Booze.
You have to.
That's part of it. Anybody else got a guess?
Oreos.
No. Crabs.
No, shut
Get
the
outta
front
here.
door.
Crabs are
You
full
go on
of cholesterol.
Don't let this
Thank
guy
you
back
so
in here.
much for your time, GW.
Really?
Next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah.
because of the fat in the crab? Like I'm thinking the mustard and all that.
Any type of shellfish, even like any mollusk, like
Wow.
shrimp,
Shrimp?
anything like that. Yeah.
I heard shrimp was good for you.
They are good for you, but in moderation. Everything in moderation.
including moderation.
So
Yeah.
if you eat like a pound in a sitting, is that okay?
I mean, if you do that every day, no.
Okay.
If you do it on Sunday and then not till 2 Sundays away, sure. It's
Okay.
Okay, how about this? Just got a message from a friend. Said, what about pomegranate juice?
I love
They,
pomegranate.
they said that studies have come out about pomegranate juice clearing the arteries. Is that true?
So pomegranate juice and a lot of other, what do we call those? The superfoods
Okay.
and things like that. The kales and that kind of stuff. They can absolutely help with blood flow. Which, if you can help with blood flow, you can increase, your blood pressure in kind of a healthy way and the contractility of your heart. Then yeah, sure, you can knock some of that down. So. Directly related to pomegranate juice, I'm guessing these people drinking pomegranate juice aren't doing it with vodka. So
Oh, her husband is, not her.
Oh,
She would drink straight pomegranate juice. Her husband definitely.
then yeah, I mean,
pomegranate
probably the vodka happens to take it down a notch. So
Okay.
unfortunately,
vodka. Okay, that's good. And by the way, she is now selling pomegranate juice. You are a fountain of information, GW.
And a total buzzkill at the same time.
I'm not trying.
Now,
crabs.
Okay,
You know,
so
you look behind you and see what's on this table. GW.
Whoops.
I think I need to go. I think I'm gonna run home instead of
It
and
won't
hope I don't
help.
have a heart attack on the way there.
So, another popular thing that you hear, and I don't know anything about fish oil. What's the deal with that? It always seems to come up
Okay,
in
all right,
conversation.
I like that. So fish oil and omega-3s are the ones that contribute to that nice healthy fat, right?
Okay.
So when they started having the real buzz about it, and Joe Rogan and all these guys came out with Alpha Brain and all these other things, a lot of them at the seat of it have omega-3s, have fish oils, and all these things. And it has to go back to that big fatty compound myelin that I was telling you about.
Okay.
So
That's
it's
like-
really, really good for the brain. It's good for nerves. It's good for joint health. It doesn't necessarily contribute to decreasing your overall cholesterol, but if you're talking to your provider and they're like, man, your HDL's high, and your LDL's high, and you're like, well, I take 6 million units of fish oil a day, they'll be like, oh, maybe take a little less, but yeah, no, it's good for you.
Okay.
So-
All right. So that's official.
Is there a bad number for HDLs? I mean, like I know they're healthy, but is there a limit where like, oh, wait a minute, that's too healthy?
I have not seen one that I've been like, oh God, stop taking fish oil.
Okay.
So no, not quite yet.
all right,
I think
so
the
what-
highest I've seen is 92 to 102, and that's pretty like. I even had to do a little bit of, hey, is that okay? And it was fine.
So, what are the numbers, quote unquote, supposed to be? Like,
So every lab will give you a different standard. If you go to Tidal Health's lab, if you go to AGH's lab, but the general ballpark with regard to LDL, which is your bad one.
oh, that's the bad one. Okay.
You want to be 130 or less with a balanced HDL of 40 or higher. So you want to have enough good fats that you're benefiting yourself and not enough bad fats that you're causing detriment. Anything above 130, and there's some calculations to show what your risk is for coronary artery disease, which is that plaque formation, big fancy term, so that they can actually justify through a bunch of medical studies that they've done going, okay, well, your risk of a stroke or heart attack is in this many years. You should probably take a cholesterol med or drastically change your diet and follow up with some labs.
Okay.
So I'd say 130 is the key number to keep it a little bit lower than
130 on the bad one.
130 on the bad one or lower.
And 40
or higher on the
So
HDL.
if somebody has a 170 overall, that's... Well,
we got
you have to
we got
look at-
triglycerides, we got VDLD in there. There's a few other players, and like the lipoproteins, the gentleman or lipo A
Right.
that he was talking about. There's a few other players. The bigger one I wanted to get to before I bore everyone to death.
No, you're
is,
not. Actually, it's very interesting.
is triglycerides, right? So there's a big run on diabetes, on weight loss, on carbs this, carbs that, keto, whatever other crash diet you can think of. Green coffee enemas, whatever.
Are you still doing that?
No, I moved on to tea.
Okay, all right. Just sure.
Still not orally correct.
It was so weird when Tommy went in to get it this morning. I'll have
the
two
drive-thru.
lattes, one green tea enema, and
And we'll see him in the back.
A pickety drinkety enema.
So with the triglycerides, right? That's what I'm getting at. So that's basically your carbs. Everyone comes in and goes, oh, my triglycerides are high. Alcohol, carbs, lack of activity. Triglycerides are unused carbohydrates that'll end up being stored as proteins or simple sugars in your body. There's been a direct correlation in relation to them creating diabetes. So if you go in and you see that your triglycerides are high, typically over 200 or so,
okay,
it's time to be like, all right, well, I'll take the burger without the bun.
gotcha.
I'll take the furthest parking spot away instead of the closest one. Just simple things.
What about eggs? It's like
They come from chickens, Bulldog.
Well, which name first is what I'm asking. No.
Yeah, one of mine.
But no, because
Get Lee back. He's the only one that knows.
I read two different things. Eggs are good for you. Eggs are bad for you. The yolk is bad. The whites are good. This all is good. What's the truth with that? Really? I mean,
All right. So eggs are great sources of protein.
Okay.
They're great sources of omega-3 fatty acids. They even have the enriched omega-3 fatty acids ones now.
Okay.
So eggs inherently, in my opinion, and I don't know that everyone clinically would agree with me, if you're a physically active person that's building muscle and are getting proteins from it, sticking mainly to a ratio of like 2-to-1 for the egg whites to egg yolks, they're great. The yolks are where you get the majority of your saturated fats and cholesterol because if you think about it, that's where everything was stored to build that baby bird. That's where all the nutrients are. That's where all the really dense, stuff is that we don't necessarily need.
Okay.
There's some other lighter, more processable proteins in the whites. So eggs are different for different people, but if you're a guy losing weight and you've had all the egg yolks previously and you're going to stick to egg whites, you'll see the benefit of weight loss and lower cholesterols by sticking to that. If you're a guy that doesn't care and loves a hard-boiled egg or an Eggs Benedict, then eggs are delicious.
Yes, they are.
But that doesn't mean they're always beneficial, right? So same thing again. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but moderation, right? I mean,
Keep bringing up that word.
How about eggs in a GMC Sierra? Is that good for you?
are bananas good on boats?
So I just want to get back because again, I don't want to run out of time on this. This is interesting stuff. You talk about these medicines. How good they are. Are there goods and bad? There's always pros and cons.
Absolutely.
Right? To everything.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like, medicine.
Yes.
That's the only thing that works.
Right.
Nah, I mean, 90% of the time, just to give you a headway on how I practice, if you come in, you're relatively young, things aren't catastrophic, my answer to you every time is, dude, let's talk about your diet.
Okay.
Are you really eating what you're telling me? And they're usually like,
No.
no. I
You
drank
already
all
know,
the
don't
beer and
you?
ate all
Yeah.
the cheesecake and also had eggs in the morning. And I'm like,
I have egg cheese.
so 90% of the time, I try to stay away from meds.
Okay.
Because of side effects, because of stigmas, because of why do you want to put a drug in your body you don't need?
What are the side effects?
So the biggest side effect and the most common one we run into is muscle cramping. And we're not talking about like, well, I started exercising and I'm taking the statin, now my left leg hurts. No, that's not a side effect. You're just sore, stretch. It's, you would get large muscle group cramping, buttocks, lower back, things like that. And there's a couple solutions to it. Maybe you're taking too much. Maybe you've changed your diet. You're feeling really good. You're exercising. Maybe we just need to tone it down or take it off.
Okay.
But the big one is muscle cramping. Muscle cramping. There's been some studies or suggestions in the European market to say that it contributes to different degenerative aging issues like Alzheimer's and dementia. I think the reason for that, though, is because that some of the older statins and statins in general aren't selective, right? They're going to get rid of cholesterol. So if they're getting rid of cholesterol, some of that good cholesterol gets compromised. And like we were talking about, the good cholesterol, you don't really want to get rid of. So how do we combat that? You do take a fish oil in conjunction with taking a statin. You do make sure you're eating some walnuts and stuff. It comes down to safe use of medicines, right? It's every medicine is not right for every person, and every person is not right for every medicine. So you got to flip the script depending on the patient.
Dude, I'll tell you what, this guy, we appreciate you. He just does things in such a simple way. You bring it to us so we could understand.
Did you have to go to some special schooling to know all
Yeah,
this?
he had to go to a special school.
I did.
Yeah.
They took me every day in a bus that was smaller than the other kids. I went to physician assistant school. It is we actually had an episode where we went through the differences between PAs and docs, but it's not the exact same as becoming a doc, but it focuses on the academics and then the out-of-school learning rather than it being a residency that you would traditionally see with a doctor is more, I hate to say it, but on the job. But we come out prepared enough to admit when we make mistakes. No.
Oh, wow.
But do you want a provider who doesn't admit they make mistakes?
No.
I don't want to meet anybody who thinks they're right all the time. Mm-hmm. So
That's true.
And in addition to any of the questions I answered today, if I was wrong, call me out on it. It's fine.
Oh, they will.
I can be
Trust
wrong.
me.
Oh yeah, I'm good with
All
it.
right, so-
Lee's already trying to.
GW Smith from AGH. You're over on 10th Street.
10th Street.
10th Street. If you want to go see him, is there a number to call, or can they even get in? You're
Oh
busy.
yeah. No. So I take new patients all the time.
Okay.
Our office number is 410-289-6241.
Okay.
The girls at the front desk are happy to help you. We have an urgent care on the other side. If anyone's vacationing and needs some help, we'll take care of you over there as well. If anyone decides to stay and not go home and needs a primary, welcome to town.
Yeah.
And come let me check you out.
And I'm going to tell you, everybody I know, all your patients, and I'm not mentioning names, so I don't want to violate HIPAA.
Well, we all know the one.
But they, I know more than one. They love you. I mean, I'll tell you, you're great with your patients. So,
I appreciate that.
we
I appreciate that. I can't get Lee to come anywhere near me. He still thinks I speak voodoo, but
He doesn't like anything to do with that, any of that stuff. No.
I know he doesn't. But I love having conversations with him.
I do too, every morning.
That's
All
right.
right. Well, listen, go have a conversation with GW Smith again, 10th Street. That number one more time.
410-289-6241.
All right, and that's now linked on our site.
Excellent, guys.
All right.